Even when genes are on your side, there are a few environmental factors that may affect your full height growth potential during puberty. In short, even if genes are not on your side, you can still significantly increase your height by manipulating the environment. Click the link in the video description if you want to be at least 2 to 4 inches taller in 8 weeks. If you are still in puberty, the following steps will help you to grow taller. 1. Sleep. Endeavor to sleep 9 to 10 hours if you are still an adolescent. Enough sleep facilitates the release of growth hormones for bone development. A bone density study from researchers at the Medical College of Wisconsin observed that lack of sleep in rats resulted in cessation of bone formation. New bone stopped forming entirely, but no decrease in bone resorption. In other words, even though the rats stopped forming new bone, their bones continued to decrease in density. They also found that the fat in the rat's bone marrow decreased while the platelet-generating cells doubled in number, indicating diminished flexibility. In another study, when U.S. researchers placed sensors inside the baby lamb's leg bones, it was ascertained that the majority of growth spurts took place when the animals were sleeping or resting. Bone length was continuously measured by the sensors every 167 seconds for around 3 weeks. At least 90% of the bone growth occurred when the lambs were asleep or resting. According to the Journal of Pediatric Orthopedics, the University of Wisconsin scientists also believe the same is true in humans, which might explain why children get growing pains during the night. Unfortunately, a recent study at Drexel University of students aged 12 to 18 found that a big number of students in that age gap get less than the recommended 8 or more hours of sleep during school nights. Research shows that if you stay up all night learning something new, your brain isn't going to retain that information the same way it would have if you'd gotten a full night of sleep. 2. Nutrition. Puberty occurs earlier for those who are very well nourished throughout childhood, and for those who have not experienced significant illnesses. Consuming plenty of amino acids-rich protein foods like boiled eggs also facilitates the release of growth hormones. Fruits and vegetables are a good source of vitamins and minerals necessary for bone development. Role of zinc. When zinc supplementation on growth velocity in 79 children and adolescents, 48 males 38 females, with idiopathic short stature was assessed, it was established that zinc supplementation increases growth velocity over a 12-month period. What is zinc? Zinc is a micromineral needed in the diet on a daily basis, but only in very small amounts, 50 milligrams or less. The first research studies to illustrate the role of zinc in the diet were centered on body growth and development. When foods did not supply sufficient amounts of zinc, young men in Iran and Egypt were found to have impaired overall growth as well as impaired sexual maturation. These initial studies on zinc reflected some of the key functions served by this mineral, including regulation of genetic activity and balance of carbohydrate metabolism and blood sugar. Other factors that may influence bone mass during puberty may include eating foods with sufficient calcium, exercise, as well as ethnic background. For instance, the bone mineral density for African American kids tends to be higher than for Caucasian and Hispanic children after 5 years. 3. Exercising. The prepubescent human skeleton tends to be responsive to the mechanical stimulation resulting from physical activity. Since a significant bone formation effect may be accomplished within 3 hours of sports activity, too much exercise may not be required. Before the pubertal growth spurt, physical activity triggers both skeletal muscle and bone growth to a larger extent than examined with normal growth in non-physically active children. Thus, sports activity should begin at a younger age before puberty and continued through the puberty stage of development to achieve maximum peak bone mass. High-strain eliciting sports like football, handball or basketball are strongly recommended to increase the peak bone mass. Sports activity could have both a direct and an indirect effect on general body growth by increasing muscle mass, which also increases tensions generated on bones during prepubertal years. Exercise can also facilitate growth and development and is a necessary stimulus for growth through its stimulatory effects on secretion of growth hormone (GH) and other anabolic hormones. Exercises also provide the necessary mechanical stress for growth and remodeling of the musculoskeletal system. Excessive mechanical strain or exercises may, however, suppress hypertrophic growth during childhood and adolescence, thereby negatively affecting growth and adolescent development. Excessive exercise is also associated with delayed pubertal changes. Sports that put emphasis on particular weight control and require high energy output are likely to negatively affect pubertal growth spurt. Examination of male scholastic wrestlers has demonstrated reduced vertical body growth during the active sports season, then catch-up growth after the season. Analysis of elite female gymnasts and dancers have likewise demonstrated delayed growth and pubertal maturation during periods of intense training. Thus, think twice before considering weight lifting during adolescence. Click the link in the video description if you want to be at least 2 to 4 inches taller in 8 weeks. Factors that will stunt body growth during puberty. 1. Undernutrition or malnutrition. In simple terms, undernutrition is having insufficient supply of foods and nutrients necessary for growth. Such nutrients include carbohydrates, vitamins, calories, minerals and proteins. If a child is malnourished before age 2, he or she may suffer lasting permanent mental and growth and development problems. A sufficient amount of food should be supplied in terms of both quality and quantity. 2. Cigarette smoking. A study published in the journal Annals of Epidemiology to investigate if cigarette smoking had any influence on height or growth found that boys who smoked were on average up to an inch shorter than those who didn't smoke. Cigarette smoking, however, had no influence on girls' height. 3. Alcohol consumption. According to studies among animals and humans, taking liquor at a young age can delay the commencement of pubertal growth and development. According to research conducted on animals, alcohol has harmful impact on the neuroendocrine systems of the hypothalamic part of the brain, which are responsible for the appropriate commencement of the puberty stage. Back in the day, studies indicated that drinking alcohol among teenage boys constrained serum GH levels and testosterone, and it adversely affected bone mineral density. It also constrained serum GH levels among teenage girls. 4. Sleep disorders or sleep deprivation. As already discussed, sleep plays a vital role when it comes to growth and development of children and adolescents. However, if a child suffers from one of the many sleep disorders for a prolonged period of time, especially during puberty, then it will adversely affect his or her growth. Establishing the cause of the disorder and making timely as well as appropriate interventions will ensure the child gets enough sleep on a regular basis. Click the link in the video description if you want to be at least 2 to 4 inches taller in 8 weeks.